Okay, everyone. Hey, we're doing a special playoff edition of Pigskin Pirates. Unfortunately, we were hoping to do. I was going to do a Sawyer versus Collin, Alabama versus Georgia. So, with this video, I'm going to kind of focus on them because my team's a loser and didn't make the playoffs. So, I guess kind of go ahead and get started. I'll start out by saying this. I think this playoff field was a lot better than last year's. I'd only have really two changes. I would actually have swapped and had Alabama playing at Texas A&M just to avoid that rematch and Oklahoma playing Miami. And Tulane Ole Miss is another rematch. I don't like that. Tulane without having a coach, I guess they had to go with the top 5 conference champions, and there was 2 G5s, but I feel like that's kind of a stupid rule. I would have probably had Notre Dame in that spot other than Tulane. I'll probably get James Madison.
Yeah. There's no way that they should have 2 G5 teams in the Power 4 playoff. But here we are.
If they were both undefeated, yeah, but not ones that have losses. I'm okay with undefeated G5 teams getting in. They're undefeated. But, yeah, it's with 1 or 2 losses. No. Tulane got blown out by Ole Miss, and they're playing them again. So.
Yeah. That goes to the level of competition as well. Like, do you really think that a G5 team can, beat Oregon? James Madison can beat Oregon, or Tulane can beat Ole Miss? No. They're trying to make this like almost the NCAA tournament in basketball, and trying to expand this playoff, which that could be another topic for another day, but I don't like that at all. Me personally, I think I like 8 teams to be in the playoff, just because it's better competition that way. But of course, I say that it's all about the money, and that's all this ever is going to be about, is money.
With our new system, I want them to kill. I don't think the conference championship games mean anything anymore, and I'm almost like, let's just get rid of them. That's another story. And somebody also somebody proposed this idea. What if, like, the SEC, instead of just doing the 1 versus 2, do a couple of other games? And, like, for example, I put Vanderbilt against Ole Miss, and whoever won that goes in, if Vanderbilt had won that, they would take an Ole Miss's spot.
Yeah.
Have like a, for
like, or, maybe... Yeah. Or maybe have G5 actually have their own playoffs instead of joining the 12-team playoff. That would actually make more sense. Or have it like, the night before the actual national championship game or the night after. I think that would make a lot of sense and more sense.
So, Collin, I guess I'll go ahead and start. Who is your favorite to win the playoff? Who are 2 other teams you think can possibly win it? And then a sleeper that could. And sleeper is probably going to be somebody 6 seed or lower that you think could win it.
Okay. I'd say my favorite, just as a fan of this team, is a no-brainer. I'm gonna have to go with Georgia. Like, after
the planet behind him.
Yeah. After the Alabama loss. Earlier in the regular season, I was like, man, I don't know how far we're going to make it. We might have, 3 losses by the time the season's up. But, this defense has gotten really good. Over the past 5 weeks, they've looked really good. And it's obvious now how unexperienced and young they were. And now that they're getting this experience and they're getting... they're almost not used to these tough games, but they've been there before. They're just playing with more confidence. The corners are more locked down. The D line is actually getting to the quarterback. Everything it looks so much better than against Alabama. I mean, I don't think I need to go into much detail about the Alabama-Georgia game, but we held them to -3 rushing yards. That's absurd. That's actually absurd. I didn't think that was even possible. And then the fact that this team, who 10 weeks ago let Alabama go on 10-minute drives and score a touchdown, you couldn't convince me that was possible. So I think Georgia is, I would say they're my lock, but I would say they're my favorites to win the national championship. I like Indiana as well, especially with wins against Oregon and Ohio State. They look really good right now. And yeah, I wouldn't say the Ohio State win was a fluke, but I mean, if Ohio State kicks that field goal and makes it, like, who knows if they win or not. The fact is, they beat the number one team in the country at the time, and that's really impressive. I think they can make it really deep. I think the way the bracket sits is really favorable for them. I see them make the national championship. Now on the other side, I would say my other team, I might go with Texas Tech, and that might seem like a surprise because the easy pick is Ohio State, second team in the country. I'm not sure on Ohio State yet. Their defense looks so good, but against one of the best teams in the country, they only put up 10 points, and that's not going to cut it in the playoffs. Like, you need to play really good to go on a deep run. And Texas Tech has been doing that. Not only does their defense look good with people like Jacob Rodriguez, but their offense also looks, I mean, they put up, 37 points against BYU? BYU only lost 2 games, and both times they got their butt handed to them by Texas Tech. I wouldn't say they're my favorites, and they could lose to Oregon. Like, that's not out of, like, the scene, but I certainly like them going deep in the playoffs. Now, a sleeper, I don't know, I feel like there's like 2, maybe 3 I like. I would say I like Oklahoma the most. And while there are some there are some like big questions at offense right now with John Mateer not playing good since that.
Yes.
Did he injure his hand, or was it his foot?
No, it was his hand wrist area, middle of the season, and then he had surgery on it, and he hasn't looked the same since. But before that, he was at lights out.
And I don't see it happening, and I mean, not for a few more weeks, but I feel like with John Mateer back, that team is better than 8th in the country. I personally, like, right now, I don't see them beating Alabama. But if Mateer plays how he did the first 5-6 weeks of the season, I think they could make it to the semifinals. How good they looked back then. So if John Mateer can really clean up his game, that defense is probably top 3, top 4 in the country right now. So it's really up to if John Mateer can get it going when it matters the most.
Sawyer, how about you? Your turn on this one. And actually, before we go, I'll do a Collin. I think there's some pretty good takes. Actually, I don't have everything you have in there, and I had some different thoughts, but I think there's a lot of logic behind all of it.
My I have 2 playoff contenders, and then I have 2 sleepers. So my first 2 contenders, one obviously is Georgia. Dude, I mean, they have made a complete 360 turnaround for the whole season. And Kirby Smart has got them playing lights out, and especially when they need to be right now, heading into the playoff. So, yeah, exactly what Collin said earlier. You wouldn't think that they would even make it this far, maybe let alone the second round of the playoffs, if they played like they did against, Florida, Bama, week 4, But I think Georgia all around is a complete team. Gunnar Stockton can only get better from here. So I have Georgia probably winning it all. And plus, they are a plus 600 odds on DraftKings to win it all, too. So you can make decent money if you want to bet them to win it all. Number 2 is Ohio State. Now, the reason why I say this is, so last year they lost to Michigan right before they went into the playoff. And then in the playoff, they demolished everybody. So I feel like they could have this same mentality this year as well, especially with a close loss to Indiana. So, and I think their offense can be a little better than what Indiana did, against them in the Big Ten title game. So that's why I have them at number two, and they are plus 240 odds to win it all. By the way, of course, to DraftKings. So that's who I have a second contender of the playoffs. So my sleeper is actually I have Oregon. To me, I think that they can make some headway, especially with the way they are set up in the bracket here. Because look, they play JMU the first game, and then they play Texas Tech. To me, Oregon's offense looks a lot better than what Ohio State and Indiana bring to the table. That they are able to score 50 plus points. Ohio State struggles to score, along with Indiana. You clearly saw that in the Big Ten title game too. That was a defensive battle right
Besides
there.
Oregon, here's the logic, because Oregon's actually my top three. I think they're too good of a team to be a sleeper. That's my thought. I think they are a contender. Besides Oregon, if you had to pick somebody outside of Oregon, who would it be? Like lower than Oregon, seed wise.
Let's see, lower than Oregon. Give me Texas A&M. Actually,
Yeah.
Give me Texas A&M because that was another sleeper of mine. But Texas A&M, I think that they can prove that they are able to win in this playoff, especially against Miami with the first game, and they play at home too. You know dang well that crowd is going to be electric, against Miami. So I think that Marcel Reed can. He's not really accurate with the ball when he throws, but their running game is as good as anybody's. Their defense can hang with anybody too. So look for A&M to be another good sleeper.
Yeah, and I kind of want to talk about A&M.
They're plus 1,800 odds, by the way.
Yeah, I think they're a really good team. I'm kind of concerned with the bracket they're in, having to play Miami could very much beat them. Then they got Ohio State. I've not been the one Achilles heel. They have some issues on defense, so they all have the same problems Oklahoma does. They do got a great defense, but I feel like it's not as strong as Oklahoma's. I don't like the fact I don't think they can throw the ball very well. I think they have one of the best rushing attacks in the SEC. I think their passing attack is something to be desired.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorites, unfortunately, I'm filling up the slot here. I had Georgia as number one coming in. I wrote this before I even talked to any of you guys on it. Not only is Georgia number one in my view, it's kind of scary because they're well, you talk about a lot of the challenges in the front of the year. They are the second youngest team in the SEC. I think Tennessee was the only other team that played more underclassmen, and they've grown a lot. If Georgia is not your preseason number one next year, because I think they return about everybody, most of the team, they're going to be like the team to beat next year. So the way they're trending, unless they,
if not this year,
yeah. So I have them as my number one. They're playing very good ball now. They're starting to grow up in jail. And I think a lot of the front end of the year was them trying to grow up, especially on defense. Defense is, I think, the harder of the units to, I'd say, grow up, get experience. I almost, when we all got together for the let's revise national titles, I almost picked these guys, but the name and logo prevented me. But my number two is Indiana. It's hard to deny how good they've been this year. I keep thinking it's just Indiana. They're going to come down to reality, but at this point they've not. And
I know they've proven themselves.
And then my number three was actually Oregon, Sawyer. For a lot of the reasons you just summed up a lot of the reasons why. They got a very favorable road. They almost seem like they're almost in the same spot Ohio State was last year, and they could just kind of blow in the scene. But great defense, great quarterback play, playing good ball. I do like. I didn't pick these guys, but Collin, Texas Tech is a very intriguing team. I'll say that, and that's going to be a tough matchup. Probably tougher than people think for Oregon. But I think it's a good call out that you had there. I don't think they get any attention because they play in the Big 12, but they're a good team. My sleeper, once again, I agreed with Collin on this, was Oklahoma. Kind of the going off the montage of defense wins national titles. It's hard to win a rematch. they'll have to get back out by Alabama. Alabama, if Alabama can find its groove with Ty Simpson, which really it's the Alabama offensive line can actually give them time to pass. That's the key.
Yes.
That's the key. I just like the physicality of Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a very physical team. That's a trademark. Granted, that's the old BCS era, 1990s era of teams that beat you up and really don't have that great offense, but defenses. Or like sorry, go off the NFL, like the Baltimore Ravens or Pittsburgh Steelers or something. Kind of one of those kind of programs.
Seattle
quarterback
Seahawks
don't necessarily blow you out of the water. Their offense, but man, is that defense sick? And that's kind of how this Oklahoma kind of stands out to me. But Collin kind of summed up them very well at the problems, and they need material to kind of play well, but just the physicality of them being able to get people in the messy games. Be curious to see how this all plays out. We always talk about this and had some projections. I know, Collin, be interested to go back to our very first video and see how things stack up, because we had some big misses. I'm trying to think who was mine.
Mine was Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn.
Dang.
I had A&M at 8-4. They went 10-2. Had Oklahoma at 8-4. I didn't have as many 10-2. My biggest one's probably Vanderbilt. I had Vanderbilt at like 5-7. So that's probably my biggest miss.
Yeah, I think I had Auburn at 10-2.
I don't think anybody could have guessed Vandy's record this year. Just start out the season.
Somebody
season, that's unheard of for them.
Yeah.
First ever, too.
Somebody was overinflated. Probably my biggest overinflation was by Missouri. I think I had Missouri at 9-3, and I had LSU at 9-3 too, and they both kind of.
Well, I would say LSU was the more disappointing
Yeah.
in this year between those two. Missouri just got beat up with injuries, especially in the quarterback position. But I mean, Missouri would have made sense. They have a decent defense as well.
Well, I was looking too a lot at schedules, and certain teams like Vanderbilt ended up being better, a tougher opponent than what I was projecting back when I put this stuff together. So that kind of impacted things as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these gimme wins end up not being gimme wins. South Carolina was another team massively disappointing. That's another one that stood out to me.
Yeah,
I think Collin and I both had them. Were higher on them.
Yeah, they were fighting to be in the playoff last year, and they just fell off the rails this year.
Yeah. Well, same with Clemson.
Not good.
I didn't see that one coming. I didn't think Clemson.
Oh, dude, I could have told you Clemson ain't gonna be nothing. Cause
I thought they'd still be 10-2 or 9-3. I thought they had enough star power to compete for the ACC. Man, they.
Well, shoot. I mean, Dabo, he doesn't use the portal like he should. So, yeah, that's his own fault for having his record the way it is this year.
Yeah, another video for another time. We could do the whole. I may do it. It'd be a good off-season video. What is wrong with the ACC? That conference should have been a lot better. It's. I think it's kind of too late for them now because they're already perception-wise behind the Big Ten and the SEC. But at one time. Collin probably wasn't even born then. But this time, that's not how you call it. But it was like at one time, there was a lot of hype around the ACC back when Florida State and Miami were something. Virginia Tech was something. Georgia Tech, actually, for a stint when I first started watching, was doing better in Georgia. And they were a pretty solid ranked team every year. Yeah. So, yeah, ACC really fell apart. Boston College and even Syracuse used to be decent programs. I mean, it was everybody was like, oh, this could be the next SEC Big Ten style conference. They were all high on them.
Okay, so out of this 12-team playoff, who do y'all think has the hardest bracket to get to the national championship?
A&M.
Yeah.
Or Miami isn't for me. If Carson Beck plays if he plays good, I mean, I don't even think that's a game they win. Then they got to play Ohio State. That's definitely not a gimme. I think Georgia's going to beat Ole Miss or Tulane. Then they got to play Georgia. They have probably the hardest.
I'll probably have to agree with you on that one.
On flip side, who has the easiest? road?
Oh, dude, it has to be Oregon.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
There's no doubt. It's Oregon. To play James Madison in your first playoff game, which brings me to my first point, in all this. Why would you allow two group of five teams to be in this playoff? I just don't understand it. I mean, I get it. You're trying to make everybody happy and the most deserving teams get in, but it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be the most deserving. It should be who are the best 12 teams to be in this playoff.
So I want to play devil's advocate here, Sawyer. You
Yeah.
had 2008 Boise State beat Oklahoma in a BCS bowl game. You had, what was it, undefeated UCF in 2017 beat Auburn, same Auburn team that beat the Alabama and Georgia who played in the national title. You've had some G5 teams that have contended in the past. I don't think you have one this year, to be blunt. I don't think either one of these teams.
No.
I actually think James Madison is going to be the better of the two just because of the coaching situation around Tulane. And I think James Madison might have had a shot if they were up against Ole Miss instead of Oregon. But no, I don't think either one of them had much of a shot this year. But I think there could be years where a G5 team could make noise. I think get some of those vintage Boise State teams or that UCF team from 2017 or Cincinnati from several years back before when they were American. I know Cincinnati's in the Big 12 now, but you get the right one, they could win a game or two. I just don't think you have the right one this year. I could be wrong. Watch one of them win. Oh, there you go, Collin.
Nice.
All right.
So we need to do the next video that angle. They look perfect.
Yeah.
I guess, Collin, I'll let you have final topic. I feel like you've probably talked the least, so I'll kind of hand it over to you. Get your any final thoughts on the playoffs or the structure or just anything in general.
Okay. First year, I loved the setup. I thought Boise State as a bye was a little ridiculous, I'm not gonna lie, but overall I thought it was cool. Now, this year, it's showing me how it can be bad. Look, I'm sure JMU and Tulane are great programs. They're both gonna get dog walked. Tulane lost by 35 points to Ole Miss. They might lose by 45 in 2 weeks. I would be surprised if James Madison puts up more than 17 points. I think there needs to be a change in how the group of five is looked at because I can also say Vanderbilt, Texas, Notre Dame, BYU, probably every team in the top 25 would beat those teams by 10 or more points. So I think it's a little unrealistic to have them in the playoffs. And once again, I'm sure they're great football teams, but they're just not playoff teams,
Right. They're great teams in their respective conferences, and the group of five teams as they should be, but not in the Power Four and the playoff either.
Now, I would almost say it's really hard to fix this, first of all, because if you just say no group of five teams in, there will be so much uproar, it's not even funny. So you really can't just do that. I would say almost for the last 3, maybe 4 spots, if it's like that, do a mini bracket. Or do something to prove who's the best team from 12 to 16, 12 to 17, something like that. So you don't see a team like Tulane, a team like James Madison get pummeled. Yeah. And that's where you can auto put in the group of 5 teams so that if they are bad, that's okay because they're losing in a bracket that has a lot less meaning than the playoffs.
I think you had some of those teams last year, though. I mean, well, for one, Ohio State pummeled both Tennessee and Oregon right off the bat. Neither one of those games were competitive. SMU was a very questionable team to me. They didn't beat a single top 25 team. I hated last year's bracket. I like this year's a lot better.
I'm right there with you, okay? I hated it completely.
I'll be
Dude,
like, why
even
was it Notre Dame? I would have taken Notre Dame, put Boise State
I
spot.
mean,
I think
Arizona State, they win the Big 12 last year. They were ranked, what, 14th? And then they automatically get a bye
they had the
after
third
winning the Big
seed.
12? Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that made no sense. So, yes, this year they did make some good adjustments. I'm just saying the two G5 teams, they should really have their own playoff. They should have their own bracket to play on rather than this. Because honestly, it's not good television when you're going to see a blowout like that when Oregon plays JMU here the next week.
But you could have. I mean, I hate to pick. I'm from my own balls. I mean, Tennessee versus Ohio State was a blowout game last year. You can have that with power programs too. And then Ohio State and Oregon was a blowout, right? And that was the number 1 seed against the number 8 seed. Oregon was undefeated Big Ten champ, and they got massacred. So it can happen to even how many BCS national title games have been blowouts? How many playoff games between power teams have been blowouts? So it could happen. I mean, SEC championship game last week was a blowout.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, I will say, like, looking back on past playoffs, you can say, oh, they did so bad. Rank, like, this team should have gotten over this team. At the end of the day, they're never going to get it perfect.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, right now, I think they did it perfect. Besides having to have Tulane and James Madison in it, I wouldn't change it at all. We could see Alabama lose by 30 points. Then, okay, they weren't meant to be there. But, like, right now, we don't know that. So, I mean, yeah, I'll throw it out there. There's a world that Tulane keeps it close with Ole Miss. Do I think so? Absolutely not. It's possible, So, as much as I don't like how Tulane and James Madison are in here, I feel like maybe not that it's the right choice, but it's almost like not even eye test. It's I don't even know how to explain it, but maybe once this playoff's over, like what you were saying, Matt, like once again, maybe Texas A&M will lose by 30 points. Like we don't really know until the playoff is actually over.
I tend to think James Madison is better than Tulane, mostly because Tulane also has the coaching turmoil and everything. I think James Madison against a potential coachless, Kiffinless Ole Miss team, if they had been put together, I think that could have been interesting. I do. I think that one could have been interesting because Ole Miss is without its coach, arguably maybe not the 6th seed. I mean, I'm surprised A&M didn't get that versus Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had to do with A&M's schedule, but the only thing
we're all saying this,
like
but guess what this is all about?
Yeah. It's a mostly good bracket this year. I just don't like that. I would have had Oklahoma playing Miami and Alabama playing A&M because Alabama did not play Texas A&M all year long, and that would have been interesting. I would have just avoided the rematch. Yeah. Flip that game. Flip the matchup there, and then maybe Collin, like you said, leave Tulane out and put Notre Dame against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
See, there's the conflict there because, of course, you have Notre Dame who's butthurt over not getting in over Miami when clearly they shouldn't be because Miami beat them head-to-head week 1.
Oh, yeah.
And they're declining to, play in their bowl game, and then they're just being all quiet, and their AD is going off on the ACC. Y'all just need to shut up. If you would have beat Miami in the first place, we wouldn't be having this, conflict. And secondly, look, no matter if you expand this playoff or you don't, there's always going to be conflict on who did not get in. I don't care who you are. Like, if we expand this to 16 teams, guess what? The 17th team is going to complain that they didn't get in.
Oh, they got 68 teams in March Madness, and there's always a team every year that should have got into it.
Exactly.
These teams have like 12 losses or 13 losses this season. They're still in the discussion.
It's just ridiculous.
I think that's about it, guys. Thanks for jumping on the call. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get together for the rest of the year, so if we don't end up doing any more videos, Merry Christmas to everyone, and please, of course, like and subscribe. Go to Off the Bench Sawyer's channel. Go to Pantry Pirates as well. Check that one out. That's I'd call it the parent channel for our group. Thank you, everyone.
Yep. Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.